In September 1995, a 61-year-old Boise woman left her home for work and never returned. 6 days later, her nude body was found on a brush-covered hillside in the city's foothills, bound with duct tape and suffocated with a plastic grocery bag.
Oh, my God.
The investigation quickly focused on her husband of 4 months, a former Russian ballet director who had once lived across the street from where her body was left.
What a quinky dink. All right, everyone, welcome back to the Lethal Library. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Dani.
And here we have yet another true crime tale straight out of Idaho. Taterland, if you will.
I can't believe you said that.
Why?
I had to dig deep. I had to download an app on my TV.
What?
Funny you should say that. Because sources used today are articles from the Idaho Statesman and an episode of A&E's City Confidential.
Ooh.
Circa 2004.
We are back in the archives.
Yeah, I had to download, I think it was Pluto or Tubi. Anyways.
Dani's dedication, you guys, is it's unmatched.
That's what I did on my lunch break today. Was watch the most cheesiest. So take unsolved mysteries and make it worse. Like, I love unsolved mysteries. Don't get me wrong.
It's the cheese factor.
It's a cult classic.
Yeah.
I love it. I get it. It is, the drama is just like, and then
You wouldn't believe what he said.
and they droned it on. I'm like, dude, get past this part. Like, this is unimportant. Like, give me the juice. Anyways, I got a little bit of information from it, not a whole lot. Anyways, the most rewarding thing from watching that was actually seeing what people looked like that I've read about.
You're like, you motherfucker.
Detectives, and well, the main subject of this is his picture was in black and white newspaper. I mean, I could see pictures of him, but the detectives and the friends that, all had something to say, aka Dateline, right? She lit up the room, people.
Right.
And I'm not saying she didn't, don't get me wrong, but those, they always bring in friends and family and just talk about how awesome
character development.
Yeah. So anyway. Yeah. And I was thinking at one point that maybe I just completely missed the boat on this. And then, because I have a feeling. Anyway, I thought I maybe completely missed the boat, but then they talked a little bit more, and then I realized, no, I was right. So, anyway.
As she usually is, folks. just to ease your mind.
It's the dedication to listening to the murder mysteries.
Yeah, she's going to do it.
All right. You ready to get into it?
I'm so ready.
Benjamin Kuzmichev was born September 2nd, 1940 in Baku, a city near the Caspian Sea in what was then the Soviet Union.
Wow.
He later moved to Kyiv, where he claimed he danced with the Shevchenko Academic Theater from 1960 to 1980. He worked briefly as a business manager for the Philharmonic Society and served as a ballet instructor and choreographer at the Choreographic College from 1981 to 1990.
And that's pretty serious stuff. They take their ballet very serious.
The Russian ballet is something fierce.
Yeah.
He said he fled Ukraine after being kidnapped by agents associated with the KGB. He was stripped naked, forced into a wooden box nailed shut, and left in a snowy field to die.
What the fuck?
He told acquaintances he had escaped and sought political asylum. Valeria Kavitko later said the family had problems because they were outspoken. You need to have a second face to live in Russia, she said. Glasnost is in the papers, but not in life. We're always told the truth. That caused problems. So Glasnost was a political party in the Soviet Union in the late 80s that meant openness. And so in the papers, they were saying, oh, you can be open, you can be open. So that's why she was saying,
That's not
it's
really...
in the papers, yes, it says we can be open.
Everyone can say what they want.
But she's like, no, that's not really it. Under Soviet leader Gorbachev, Glasnost encouraged more freedom of speech, more openness in government, less censorship in the media, and public discussion of social and political problems. We now know that, in fact, was a lie.
Yeah, that's not known.
So I just thought that's why they were seeking political asylum here.
Sure. And
KGB.
Then right. If you can prove that there's threat to your family or just no economic way to support your family, like that's a reasonable...
To get put in a wooden box and left in a field.
And basically buried above ground, but in snow. How terrifying is that?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you can prove that your country of origin is a threat to your life, you absolutely have the right to seek asylum.
In 1990, Kuzmichev, Valeria, his wife, and their little daughter Lucy, and Valeria's parents sought refugee status and traveled through Germany before arriving in the United States. They were placed in southern Idaho through refugee settlement efforts supported by churches and community sponsors.
And a lot of people don't know this, but Idaho actually has a lot of refugees from different places. There's many centers here that, you can't just go to a country and just kind of figure it out on your own. I mean, sure, you could, but your likelihood of being successful, these different organizations, it's their job to make sure that you're becoming a member of society and finding a job and finding housing and basically kind of your sponsor, I guess, not really sponsor, but
they provide them
resources
and they also provide money to pay for them to get over here. And then also when they get here, these community sponsors will help them have a place to live and help them take classes to acclimate,
all that stuff.
Yeah, all of that stuff. So it is a community-based effort to help these refugees.
Yeah, how to get a driver's license, basically how to become a functioning member of society.
Yep. They ended up in Twin Falls, Idaho. Kuzmichev enrolled in English classes through a refugee program at the College of Southern Idaho. There he met Joy Meester, who taught English to refugees. He wasn't pompous in any way, shape, or form. Many Russians can be, Meester said. He was utterly charming and good-looking.
Wow.
Soon after arriving, Kuzmichev was introduced to Beverly Hackney, a longtime ballet instructor in Twin Falls, who hired him to teach at her studio because that was his background. Very reasonable for him to get a job doing
I'm sure they were thrilled to have him.
Yes.
A talent of that level. If you're in Russia and you're teaching any kind of ballet coming to Twin Falls, Idaho, which is a smallish town, I mean, and it's east side of Idaho.
They were thrilled.
They were overjoyed, I'm sure. This is like having, if you have a pop music class, having Madonna come and teach about pop music, or Sabrina Carpenter for now.
Yeah.
What a joy.
Hackney said they shared Russian ballet textbooks and technique and spoke about choreography and instruction. That's what really worried him, she said, that he had a wife and a child to support. She said he was popular with students and rarely lost his temper, even when frustrated by language barriers. Valeria often served as his interpreter. So
very cool.
She had better English skills. Yeah.
Sure. Look at us. Wow. When you're just on that same wavelength.
During this period, Kuzmichev also met Alex Kochnev, a Russian-speaking acquaintance who helped him prepare a resume and translate documents. Kochnev later said, "We never looked at diplomas or anything like that." He said he relied on Kuzmichev's word about his background and assumed documentation had been lost during his flight from the Soviet Union.
And you know what? Until 2010, 2015, it was not common practice to check people's credentials. Common everywhere. And especially in the 90s,
It was a piece of
it
paper.
was hard. There's no like portal to go to.
No. And so if somebody was really inclined, they could just make the paper.
And listen, I've heard a lot of some of the boomer generation openly admit that, yeah, I got a job because I said that I graduated from this school. I've never been there. Because there was just no...
I think my mom got a job when she was like 13 at the Arctic Circle. But she lied and says she was older. Maybe she was 14.
They're
maybe
not
16.
asking you for your
No.
birth certificate.
No, they weren't even asking for ID.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Not the
I mean,
same.
that was back in the day, but I mean, still, like,
No, and people still try to do it today, and they'll have fake, papers and diplomas and...
plus you're fleeing a country with nothing but the clothes on your back.
Yeah, like, what do you expect? You have your whole life... You had to flee, so people are going to give you a break.
Me personally, I would have packed any certificates in between my sweaters.
Because she... Dani is that bitch, and...
But anyways, not everybody can be me.
Thank God you said it, because, man, I just fail every day.
I'm like, I'm going to take one pair of pants, one sweater, and I'm packing my file box full of all of my important shit. That would be me. So
For you, Dani.
I know. Kind of special.
She is. Let's all try to be a little bit more... 2026... And I'm saying this at my grown age. I'm like, maybe I should get organized and have my documents in a responsible place. I will say a lot of them are. I'm doing mostly okay. But it's not everything. So.
Yeah.
I'll get there.
If my house started on fire, I, within 10 minutes, would have important documentation.
I bet quicker.
And
I think 8 minutes would be trying to find Harry and get Jared up. I think you'd have your boxes within 2 minutes. Thank you.
In 1991, Ballet, Idaho, then known as American Festival Ballet, that name was not catchy, by the way.
No, it wasn't.
So,
Ballet Idaho's way better. Can I just say, as like a second grader, I danced for Ballet Idaho.
no shit.
I
Then you're going to find this very interesting. Steph does not know these stories.
No, I don't.
There's lots of ballet. But the American Festival Ballet was in financial crisis.
Oh.
And nearly $200,000 in debt. And we're talking in the 90s.
That's a big amount.
Its longtime artistic director, Paul Russell, was terminally ill and took a leave of absence. Esther Simplot, wife of billionaire J.R. Simplot, stepped in as the company's primary financial backer and unpaid executive leader. Simplot, who had an operatic background and was one of Idaho's leading arts patrons, was contributing tens of thousands of dollars a month to keep the company afloat.
And that makes sense. And you know what? I want rich people to rich people like they used to rich people. Buy a library, a local library that's free to the public. I'm not talking about buy a library for Harvard. Put in a library. Put in a museum that is very low entrance fees just to keep the place running, and you pay for it. Rich people used to do this kind of stuff constantly because, for one, it's the right thing to do. And two, then people are less looking at you and being like, why do you pay less % in tax than I do? That's wild.
And the Simplots were huge contributors to a lot of the arts, not
community.
not just to the ballet, to a lot of things.
No, there's a lot of things with the Simplot name on it. And just so you guys know, those that aren't in Idaho, I'm sure everyone in Idaho knows the Simplot name, but Idaho potatoes,
Simplots. They basically created the fucking French fry.
They created
the modern
mold,
French
model.
fry.
and
for McDonald's and became like
and just the
gazillionaires.
producing and the factories, and they are the potato moguls of the area and have been.
And for those of you who don't know, Idaho is
Famous potatoes, Taterland.
so
Tater money might look like a little potato to you.
Oh.
Big money.
And that City Confidential that I watched on A&E.
What did it say?
It was, they called us Taterland.
They did?
They did.
And this is from 2004?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, trendy slang speech.
It's just, I'm like,
Hey,
how many times do you have to fucking say Taterland? Like, once would have been plenty because there's
that
so much
seems derogatory.
It did to me.
Okay, don't Taterland derogatory to me.
It was so many times.
Listen, all of our states have faults and little silly things, and most people forget that Idaho's a state and they think it's Ohio or Iowa or whatever it might be. Idaho's a state. And yeah,
They were
Well,
so
a little
surprised
kind of.
we had culture here.
there's paved roads and running water.
There was literally a whole fucking segment about how we had culture here.
Shows you how much times have changed. I mean, this is 2004, so I mean, I can grant a little grace here, but don't Taterland derogatory. We're proud of it. We drop a potato for New Year's.
Yeah. It's part of
We're not
us. We
ashamed of it.
are.
And if you don't like potatoes, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Nobody's getting a Texas potato on a menu.
No.
Look, you go to a fancy restaurant, it says
Idaho.
Idaho potato.
French fries, crinkle cut fries, tater tots, baked potato, twice baked potato, game changer. There's so many. That one potato thing that's like all the tiny layers that you smash down, and I don't even know what it's called, but it looks, we have to try to make it sometime. Oh, we gotta do it. So potatoes make vodka? What, name me a more versatile vegetable. You can't.
Listen, City Confidential, you hit a little below the belt on so many Taterland comments because we're more than that.
Yeah. And if you don't love potatoes, I'm sorry, you're fucking weird. Anyway, moving on.
Through Kuzmichev and Hackney, Simplot was introduced to Kuzmichev. He showed videotapes of dance classes he had led in Ukraine. Okay. This I did not pick up on.
What did it do?
He brought videotapes from Ukraine, but not his papers.
Gotta get the tapes.
Anyway, Hackney and Kuzmichev vouched for his training. Simplot backed his candidacy strongly. In April of 1991, Kuzmichev was appointed artistic director.
Oh, and that's big, 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 big. I bet people were pissed that have been working there for years, grooming themselves for that position. I mean, but like I said, it's the Russian. It's the Russian ballet.
In the public, they're like, "Oh my God, we got a Russian
In Idaho?
Yeah, it was a big fucking deal. Yeah. The Idaho State Journal reported that he was selected by the board's executive committee from a field of undisclosed candidates. There were probably none.
He was the one.
At the time, Simplot said that he brought, quote, the Russian tradition, a robust, masculine tradition of dance. Attorney John Chapman said the ballet company wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Simplot's financial support.
Sounds like it. He was like having them on CPR.
Yeah. Kuzmichev, Valeria, and Lucy moved to Boise from Twin Falls and lived in a cottage owned by the Simplot family at 3535 Bogus Basin Road.
Can we look it up? I want to see it so bad.
A white two-story building trimmed in blue at the base of a landscape hill crowned by the Simplot's Mediterranean-style mansion. And if you're from here, you have seen the mansion. I can't even begin to describe how it sticks out.
Because there's many wealth, and I feel like there's more visible wealth now. But back in the 90s, even if people were super rich, it was not normal to stick out. You know, you might have a big ranch or be a farmer, and people don't know the amount of wealth that goes into owning, all that farm equipment, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. But it was not normal for very wealthy people to show off their wealth like or have outwardly flashy. And this has always been.
This hill is so tall, people would get on ice blocks and you forgot about that, huh? You would take an ice block to Simplot Hill, like literally it was a hill named for Simplot. That's where his house sat atop, and this huge American flag, like the biggest American flag you'd ever seen. And you know, the Simplots hooked him up. Like, you can stay here till you get settled, so you start getting some paychecks, you and your family, and yeah.
Well, and that's another way for them to help without paying more money is just, we're not using this house. Go ahead and stay at it. You're supporting. Good benefit for everyone.
And back in the day, I don't know if people still do it, but back in the day, people would get the blocks of ice.
Yes.
And you walk up the hill because it's that steep and that big, and you would ride it down on the grass because Simplot, the whole mountain was green grass. And mind you, if you don't live here, we are in high desert. Like, if you don't water
Sagebrush.
it,
Yeah, you
it's
have to.
dusty sagebrush, not the hill. The
hill was perfectly manicured.
Yeah.
Like a golf course.
And it was green. And you could just ride down it. At Ballet, Idaho, Kuzmichev took charge of casting, rehearsals, the choreography. Valeria and Kuzmichev divorced in August of 1993.
Wow.
And she received custody of Lucy. But they remain in contact. And I couldn't find exactly what happened with that. Like,
Deeds?
No deets. They got divorced. And they went to Boise County. And there was one remark in one article that was like, that's where people went when they wanted it to be like hush hush. Because back in the day, they were putting everything in the papers.
Oh, yeah.
Everything,
of
of divorce and all that stuff, legal notices.
Smart then, if you.
Yeah, I don't know why they wanted to keep it quiet. I have no idea. But anyways, they got the divorce.
Wow, tragic.
Tensions developed between Kuzmichev and management over artistic control, finances, and scheduling, and lawsuits were threatened at the Ballet.
Oh, wow. And that can be you see that a lot of, you have an artist who might not understand the budget and they have a vision.
And they're visionarying.
And the people that are financially backing it might not have the same vision.
And that's exactly, disagreements arose over budgets and staffing. And the company was heavily dependent on Simplot's support. And her reputation was tied to Kuzmichev's leadership. That has been such a difficult.
We're trying, folks.
I've been saying it wrong. Anyways.
You know what we mean.
If I butcher it, again, apologies.
We're doing our best.
In November 1993, just weeks before the Nutcracker, the company's main annual fundraiser, Kuzmichev abruptly disappeared.
Oh, the drama.
He left Boise without notifying colleagues, dancers, or administrators. Rehearsals were disrupted and staff scrambled to reorganize.
This was a big hit, and it sounds like very unexpected. This throws everything into chaos.
And Esther Simplot has put her stamp of approval on this guy. Nearly a month later. Because
in what world is anyone allowed to do that for their job?
When does the Nutcracker come? December. When did he leave? November.
Oh, shit.
So a month later, Kuzmichev contacted Boise police and said he had fled because a man had confronted him at the Ballet's downtown offices. He described the man as about 35 years old, 6 feet tall, wearing blue jeans and a jean jacket, and resembling Watergate defendant H.R. Haldeman.
Okay, that's quite a reference. And let me just say, I don't know the story, and I know you're going to explain more. This sounds This reeks of, and it might not be this, either a drug problem or a secret second life problem. Like, people don't just do this, you know. There's something under the surface here.
He said the man pointed a .38 caliber snub-nosed revolver at him.
Very specific.
Yes, and ordered him to leave Boise or his family would be killed.
Wow, this is, especially for Idaho, this is some like mafia wives.
Some KGB.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Kuzmichev told police he fled south towards Mexico and later into California. He said he stayed in motels but could not recall names or locations. He said he was in such a hurry he did not know where he had gone.
I'm so sorry. You can't remember one hotel? I'm so sorry. Like Motel 6s and other places, they're so branded, and you think you would. How do you not remember?
It
1 month.
John's
It wasn't
roadside inn.
It wasn't 6 years ago. This happened last month. And if you're not staying in hotels, I think you remember the name of the hotel, or can at least give like maybe some cross streets, like it was on LaGuardia and this or whatever. Like, what? Suspicious.
He later asked police not to pursue the investigation.
Suspicious.
Esther Simplot personally intervened. Armstrong, a Ballet, Idaho board member, later confirmed that Simplot insisted Kuzmichev return to Boise and complete the season. Oh, I bet you Esther had him by the balls.
Get your ass back here and do the job that I have nominated you for personally, sir. Thank you.
His disappearance had embarrassed the company and jeopardized ticket sales. Oh, I would be so mad. He returned and finished his contract, but his credibility within the organization was damaged.
Shot.
By January 1994, amid a reorganization, Kuzmichev was dismissed.
Shocker. I mean, no. They wanted him to finish because they needed more time. And so they were saying, get your ass back here, do your job that you've been contracted for, and we are actively looking for your replacement.
At this time, too, though, there was a big reorganization. So he just worked himself.
Conveniently
Yeah.
at the same time.
They hooked up with a Ben Ballet company, and they were
like merging or something.
maybe it was Portland partnership. Anyways,
interesting.
Once that was complete, there was no place for him. Some colleagues attributed to the firing to the disappearance and to management disputes, no doubt. Others cited lingering doubts about his reliability and background.
Ooh, because listen, at this time, there's no Ben verified. There's not very good background checks.
Especially in Russia.
Yeah, and the information is not flowing. There is no information that's easily had. So it would be so easy and also convenient to come from a country that's known for ballet and ice skating. And if you have even a elementary knowledge of it, the accent, and they say he's very charismatic, good looking, you could sell it that you were and maybe he was, it sounds like the credentials are in question, but you could sell it. And just the accent alone, people don't have accents around here. I could imagine that was so like, oh my God, the real deal's here.
The real deal.
And they were desperate as well. So they were like, oh my.
Yeah, they were in a shit show before he's
going to take us to the moon.
Yeah, next level. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, there was articles in the paper that was like, he's going to recruit. This isn't a stepping stone for him. He's going to recruit some of the best male dancers because male dancers were hard to come by. And we're just going to build this great, like it was built. This was all built up on hope.
And that's a very feeble building block.
He eventually obtained a position at Hewlett-Packard's Boise facility.
Good old HP. I know that many of us have worked there. Fun fact, my grandpa, before HP was there, one of the first houses he owned in Idaho was on that exact piece of land.
Really?
And now it's HP.
So like we're just gonna buy up these few little farmhouses and
So Hewlett Packard, you know the name, they have an enormous amount of buildings, and now they're leased out to other places and stuff.
but they had a huge campus in their prime
Yeah, it's a big place in
and a
Memphis.
very inconvenient place to drive to work.
Oh, it's awful. I have literally worked in that specific area at like 3 or 4 different places right near that campus. It's harder to get there from where we live than to get in downtown, heart of downtown Boise, where you have to have parking garages. It was more convenient to go downtown than to get to the. It's just a shit show.
Roots.
Eagle Road, anybody, any Chinden, anybody. The literal nightmare.
Thank you for respecting Chinden and not saying Shinden.
And I never know if I'm right or not, but I've always said
It's supposed to be
Chinden.
Chinden.
Okay.
It's Chinese gardens. There's history. Chinese
Okay.
and gardens. Chinden.
Oh, well, that explains it. I had heard something like that, but I didn't know. Hell.
It's easy to say Shinden. And I've heard it. Or how about the a stick?
A stick or Kuna. These are things that like your GPS, if you're in Idaho, it'll be like, take a right on Kuna Road. And it's Kuna, or take a left on a stick road.
Let's use stick.
Use stick.
Like it's literally USTICK.
A
Use
stick.
A stick.
Kuna, Kuna. It's not like tuna. It's Kuna.
Anyway,
just for some nice, fun Idaho facts for you non-locals.
At Hewlett Packard, Kuzmichev worked on the production floor and in security-related roles.
Quite the change.
Oh, yes. Coworkers described him as quiet and reserved because his ass got humbled.
I think so, yeah, for him to go from this big charismatic.
He complained to acquaintances that ballet instructors were treated with more respect in Ukraine and that he had lost status in the United States.
I bet he was bitter. I would be, if that was, I mean, Idaho has a lot of culture, but as far as the arts and stuff, Ballet Idaho and whatever the fuck they called it before that was one of the biggest things. And I mean, they were involved with schools. Like I said, that's how I wasn't dancing for Ballet Idaho because I was a incredibly skilled dancer. It's because they used to come and do this thing at schools where they would come to 5 or 6 of your PE classes and teach you different skills. And then they would offer a 1-year quote unquote scholarship, not really, but kind of, to go and have a year of lessons there in their ballet classes for free. And then of course they continue to recruit up from there. So, but it was very involved in the community, and we don't have, especially in the 90s, there wasn't a whole lot of resources and stuff, arts and stuff like that. So this was a big deal. It was a real deal, big deal.
And it was a big name.
Mm-hmm.
There in early 1995 at HP, he met Wanda Calger, a longtime production line worker who had worked there for 17 years.
And HP is one of the bigger employees, especially this time, was one of the bigger employers.
And you stay put.
Mm-hmm. If you were hired on for the company, oh hell yeah,
good bennies,
you can make it work.
Decent pay, yeah.
And it's factory, but it's not. You're not at wood grain building doors. No shame in it, but that's a very labor intensive.
Right.
It's a factory setting, but it's not intensive like that. You're not at a, other factories.
You're
like
not lifting
armors.
You're not lifting 50-pound boxes, and
you're not pushing around carcasses.
It was very clean. It was a clean facility. It's technology.
Mm-hmm. And cutting edge at this time.
Cutting.
Big. Let me just tell you a snippet of working at HP. I've worked there.
Oh, did not know.
Testing printers. Printers are the evil of the earth, and they are all cursed and of Satan. I liked it. It was 410s, but you had to be there at 5:45 in the morning, getting all the way fucking over there. And I was living in Caldwell at the time.
But it was you. Look,
It was a big kid job.
and you're doing baking.
Yeah, it built character, that's for sure. But let me just tell you, it's the first time I ever fell asleep standing up. I've never told you about duration testing. So duration testing is where, because I did a lot of customer verification testing where you're sending jobs to a printer like a customer would. You have a script of put this paper, do this job in this program and do it in color and do it in with these margins. And you check for quality. And then if anything's wrong, you're able to talk and you get to know the engineers really well. So it's a much more, you feel like you're part of it. Duration, all you're doing is, it's usually with the big printers. So you have like 6 to 8 of those big, tall office printers. And there's a program that sends them jobs constantly, all of them. You're not checking for quality. All you're doing is emptying the bins and emptying the trays or emptying the bins and filling the trays. And you're getting there at 5:45 a.m. There is no cell phones allowed. If your cell phone rings, you're literally fired on the spot. You have to leave it in your car or a locker. They were so paranoid. And this was probably '08 or something. If you had to take a smaller printer from one building to another outside, you had to have a thick blanket tarp thing over it because there wasn't even the drones we have now today, but they were take pictures of it. And that's why you couldn't have your phone. They were worried you'd find the blueprints and take pictures of the blueprints and send it to China or whatever. That's literally the most ridiculous security. So no phone, no music, no crosswords, no books, no scrolling the internet on the computers, no puzzles, no nothing. And so duration, they're just basically testing for when the parts are going to break. So they're trying to run the shit out of these to say, should it be a 5-year on the fuser? That's all you're doing. And so you're for 10 hours just moving paper, and you're by yourself for this test, that you're not next to someone else. Like with customer testing, you have many people next to you doing the same thing. There's no one in this long ass cubicle, and all you hear is and the warm air. I fucking fell asleep standing up several times. It's so mindless. Imagine doing that for 10 hours a day. Like,
I know.
yeah. HP,
baby. Wanda was a 60-year-old mother of 5 who lived alone in the Sunflower Community Mobile Home Park in West Boise. She was deeply religious and had been a Jehovah's Witness for decades. Friends said she rarely dated after her divorce and had lived on her own for more than 30 years.
And I will say, I don't know a whole lot about the Jehovah's Witness community, but I know that it's one of those religions that typically you don't get divorced unless it's adultery, infidelity, or if there's like extreme violence. And you can still get divorced outside of that, but there sometimes is a lot of shame or like shunning from the community of the...
I don't know.
And every church every area is different. So there's some that stick way with this. There's some that don't.
I believe, and I might say this again because that's how my brain rolls, she got married very, very young. So I don't even know if she...
Well, 5 kids, usually you have to.
She was involved with that religion when she was married. Yeah, I don't know that for sure.
Sure.
But she did it for her kids, which could have, like, to raise...
Get it, girl.
Her friend Mary Myers said she was lonely. She was definitely lonely because she wasn't dating. And her daughter had passed away about 4 years previous to this in a car accident.
Oh, shit.
So that... And then she had her 4 boys. But I think she's really close to her daughter.
Right.
And that was very devastating to her.
It's terrible to lose a child. And gosh, your only girl.
And as you get older, I think, you
have a different relationship with your kids.
Kids get busy. And so I think that could bring some sense of loneliness. If she lost her daughter, and then her boys are off married, and they have their own family.
And the culture was different of being unmarried at any age was kind of looked down on more than it. I think today it's much more like women have kind of taken this stand of like, I don't have to be married and I can still find fulfillment. Whereas before, it was almost looked at as a flaw of yours. Like, why aren't you married?
But she kicked ass.
It sounds like it.
I mean, for her to be working at HP for 17 years, she raised all those kids. And I mean, Wanda started after her divorce. She was waitressing, like doing the hard stuff to make ends meet.
She got it done
She was,
without a formal education, I'm guessing,
yeah, I didn't come across that. She just kicked ass and made it happen.
as we do.
So she created this little, positive. She's taking care of her. She took care of her kids. She took care of herself. I mean, at 61.
She was making it work.
Yep. But Wanda's card broke down. And so coworkers were helping her get back and forth to work. As one does when you've been working there 17 years.
And it sounds like people probably liked her because if you don't like someone, you're not giving them a ride to work.
Let me just tell you, Wanda's a cutie patootie.
Oh,
Yeah. So, yeah, they're just trying to help her. I mean,
getting her there.
Yeah. And I'll go into a little bit further detail later on about, what she had accomplished besides, raising 5 kids
Which is huge.
on your own. But the coworkers were helping her get back and forth to work. And when her regular ride fell through, Kuzmichev offered to drive her.
How sweet.
Her friend Myers said Wanda did not invite him into her home until after several rides.
She's a woman of morals. She's a classy gal.
After about the 7th ride, they had tea, she said.
Tea. Again. How classy.
Wanda told Myers she had met a cultured man who had been a ballet dancer in the Soviet Union. She said he asked if he could move into her trailer.
Oh, Wanda. And I feel for her because truly, I mean, this is Idaho in the 90s. There's still not a lot of diversity. It's much better, but there was not much diversity.
There's some worldly men that showed her interest.
An amazing and accredited ballet instructor from Russia. Wow. Who can tell back? That's like being with an Olympic gold medalist. Like, wow.
Wanda told him they would have to marry first.
Good. You know what? Good girl.
Kuzmichev told her that if he ever remarried, it would only be to Valeria. Like, we can date.
Sorry, I almost just choked on my drink.
But I am pretty attached to that wife.
How wild to be. Basically, if you're wanting to move into someone's trailer, listen, nothing wrong with trailers, but clearly he didn't manage his money very well. If he didn't have custody of the kids, I don't know what the child support agreement was or whatever, but you need to move into her house. And she says, well, you can't if we're not married. And he says, I'm only going to marry my ex. What a wild thing to say.
Look at her from.
Welp is right. Like, what the beggars can't. You're a beggar right now. And have you heard the term? I don't love the term, but it's kind of silly at the same time. Hobosexual. How, especially in the wintertime, the hobosexuals come out and they are men that aren't capable of having their own place. And people,
Or probably a relationship.
yes, and their mom's getting tired of them, their dad's getting tired of them, and so they are love bombing and basically just attaching to women, to the strong women that have their own job, independent women that have it all figured out, to be the dude on the couch that's, at this time it wasn't a thing, but playing PlayStation and be like, babe, I applied for 12 jobs today, babe. And the house is messier than you left it, and they won't do chores because that's below them, beneath them. And they just want, literally, they're couch surfing, but with women, and also trying to get the benefit of having a girlfriend. Ew. Ew. Yuck. I love that fucking TikTok.
3 weeks later, on May 5th, 1995, Wanda and Kuzmichev were married and starred a small ceremony attended by relatives and close friends.
Oh. So you would consider marriage. I think, again, he's weighing his options. He's like, I laid down this hard line and she didn't go for that, because I bet she was like, oh, well, that's unfortunate. And he's like, oh, now I'm in a pickle. I really gotta marry this girl. And she was, like you said, it sounds like she was a great woman, but he thought he was above it. How old was he at this time? Do you know?
He was younger, I want to say 55.
And that's not even that much younger.
No, just a smidge younger.
But when men start getting that age, they think they deserve a 20-year-old.
But listen, let me tell you, Wanda had her little life
Figured out.
carved out for her. And I even looked at pictures in 2004, which is several years later. This little mobile home community was fucking cute.
Nice.
All the yards, it was a super nice. She had managed to own her own home by herself, which
was not common.
and it was cute. And anyway, there's some more descriptions of her little house in here. Fucking get it, girl. I'd be so content to be able to.
I know. And I think women are realizing that yeah, it's nice to have a partner, but with the right partner, because the stress that it brings to your life sometimes isn't worth it. There's a reason why our grandmas and aunties and everyone's like, even if they had a happy marriage where they're like, yeah, I don't regret it, but they're like, don't get married. Just if you can avoid it, don't. And because they've lived it, and even if it wasn't a terrible abusive thing, they realize that maybe I would have followed this dream a little bit more and not just supported my husband's dream. And, maybe I would have done more of this. Or when their spouse dies, even though if they're like, I love them deeply, but man, am I living differently now that it's just me and I'm loving it. So that was not, it was literally like, what's wrong with you? You don't have a man. So
she was killing it in the 90s.
Sounds like it.
After their marriage on May 5th, 1995, Wanda and Kuzmichev returned to their home. The trailer was painted powder blue with white trim.
Gorge.
Set on a neatly kept bordered lawn. And all of the homes looked the same, like I said in that picture. Everything, you could have played golf. It was seriously that good.
I love that.
I think it was probably a lot of maybe retired people or people older, and they're like take a lot of pride in their homes. She had plastic flowers and a pair of yellow plastic ducks decorated her little short walkway to the front door. Inside, Wanda kept meticulous order. Friends said she had developed habits of strict organization after decades of raising children alone and living independently.
And as one does.
Yeah, so she was.
And I love that she had her own little style, and
she did. She was, that's what I mean by when I said earlier, she's a cutie patootie. Mm-hmm. She did. And she was really pretty. On top of being stylish and keeping a good home, she was cute.
And keeping a job and just hustling, dude. Mm-hmm. Like, HP is not an easy job. And they have been plagued with constant layoffs for decades. So in order to keep your job for that long, that's saying something.
She was a good worker.
Yeah.
Within days of the wedding, Wanda began changing her legal documents. She was excited.
And responsible.
She obtained a new driver's license with her new married name.
Oh, wow.
And re-registered the trailer in both her name and Kuzmichev's. I saw that face. Neighbors noticed her changing the name on even her mailbox from Calgary to
She was very proud. Yeah.
Donna Allen, who lived nearby, said Wanda appeared proud and excited.
Yeah.
One neighbor recalled Wanda saying, "He's such a nice man, and I tell him all the time. He he was a worldly man.
And she's beaming, and like it's almost another form of nesting right before a pregnant woman has a kid.
She's like,
Oh, we're redoing, this is our home.
She
What a
been-
woman does, making the house a home and welcoming
and
someone.
she was by herself for 30 years.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the love flutteries.
Oh, yeah.
After 30 years.
Someone showing
over the
you
moon.
that attention.
Yeah. Mary Myers said Wanda spoke enthusiastically about her new life, but didn't discuss details of the relationship.
She's classy.
She never said a word about it, Myers said. To be honest, I didn't want to ask her.
I'm sure it looked a little weird. It's not a huge age gap, but again,
But it was 4
men
months.
that age think that they deserve a 20-year-old. So it's like, yeah, close enough.
But it had only been 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're like, I'm happy for you. You look happy.
If you're happy, I'm happy. If
Yeah.
you like it, I love it.
Yeah.
And I say that a lot to people where I'm like,
Look, I'm not
not
gonna.
my thing, but
Yep.
you do you, boo-boo.
Yep. Wanda had recently taken early retirement from HP after nearly 17 years on the production line.
Taking early retirement, that takes a lot of work to be in a place where the numbers work out. Good for you.
She began working part-time for Boland janitorial services. 3 nights a week, she cleaned offices at the Idaho Law Center at 5th and Jefferson, across from the Ada County Courthouse. You know this building.
Mm-hmm.
It's very 90s,
Yeah.
weird looking, like back in the day, cool. Now it's a weird building.
Yeah.
It looks like a grocery store. Kuzmichev sometimes accompanied her on these jobs, helping carry supplies and clean.
Very humble and surprising, to be honest.
But when his back hurt, she worked alone.
And I bet she had no problem with that.
No. She's
This-
like, you're
this
going
is
to
a
come help me?
part-time.
That's awesome.
Yeah. If not, okay.
That's cool.
She's the gal that it's her job. She's going to get it done.
Kuzmichev had left Hewlett-Packard and was working as a guard for A&A Security Systems and Services, including shifts at the federal building downtown. He told Tim Calger, which is Wanda's son, that he felt diminished by his loss of professional status.
The bitterness and the ego is to be talking about it to where people remember.
To his newlywed
Son,
wife,
Stefan.
yeah, and the son is like, no, dude, keep your mouth shut.
Well, and that's almost, I feel like that even makes it worse for these types of people. It would probably be much better to, because that's so, imagine being on the receiving end. That's so awkward of someone being like, I'm so much better than this. And you've heard it all before and before because he's worked at HP and I wasn't appreciated here. And if I, kind of like peaked in high school energy. He peaked at the Ballet, Idaho. And it's like, we all go through rough spots when you keep bringing people in like that and being like, oh, I'm the victim. I deserve better. It's like, well, then go get better.
No, he told
This is the land of opportunity, right?
He said ballet instructors were respected in Ukraine, while in the United States he was working security and janitorial support.
Well, no, you were working as as the director, an artistic director. Most incredibly talented ballet instructors never meet that. It's a timing game. It's a grooming
And you
game.
can't take a little vacay.
I bet people that have been working at Ballet Idaho for years were pissed when he got that job because they've been part of the company and
Just because
training.
he's from Russia?
I bet it caused a hubbub.
Wanda's family said Kuzmichev entered the marriage with few possessions.
Oh,
Just a suitcase, Tim Calger said.
just a suitcase. Well, I mean, he didn't have any of those important documents weighing him down, so that makes sense.
Wanda had modest savings. Her trailer. I hate saying that because it was her home, but
We don't have any.
It's
Listen.
a mobile home.
We've lived in trailers. There's nothing wrong with it.
And a small amount of Micron technology stock that she
Oh.
and Kuzmichev received as a wedding gift.
Oh my God. Guys, look at Micron right now. I know this is like decades later, but Micron stock, This is like having
wanna
Google stock
say it
before
was like-
Google was the Google.
I want to say it was like 56 shares or something. It was, I mean,
Modest, but especially now, like, wow.
so her net worth was about $30,000. I can't believe that trailer wasn't worth more, but this is the 90s.
I think it's because a lot of times you don't own the land.
No, she didn't own the land. It was definitely a perk that she paid to be in, but she owned
So 30,000 sounds
decent.
fair.
A friend said she wanted Kuzmichev to feel secure and respected. Tim said she wanted to give him a sense of ownership, you know.
She wanted to give him a little pride back because clearly he's whining to everyone of how his ego's so hurt and he
look
deserves.
at her taking care of that
And she's
ego.
like,
We're halvesies now.
we're partners. We're equal partners. Ugh, I hate hearing about, women just being amazing to men that don't fucking appreciate it. And I feel like that's where this is going.
Mary Myers believed the relationship was practical.
And at that age, that's not rare.
Well, she was just saying for Kuzmichev. I think it was nothing on his part but plain convenience, she said.
And once you start getting up into the 60s and retirement age and stuff, you do see a lot of that because there's a certain, if your spouse dies and you wait a certain amount of years to get married and then you get married, you can still have the spouses like, so this relationships of convenience, the older you get, the more common they get. And listen, especially in today's economy, living on a single budget is hard. I will say it was easier back then. I do truly believe. But
one also worked her ass off.
And to make her life. And then she welcomed someone else into it and tried to give them an equal share. That's crazy.
But the ex-wife, Valeria, disagreed with friends, saying, his soul is an artist's soul, she said. She was very understanding of that. She represented the best in American culture for Ben. And she also was giving her a compliment that Wanda represented
This is the American life he's trying to assimilate into. Okay, now I get it.
Valeria acknowledged that Kuzmichev had wanted to reconcile with her after their divorce and that he had struggled emotionally for more than a year. She said that by 1995, he was ready to move on. So,
or did he realize he didn't have a chance? Because it sounds like she was not open to it. That she was like, "That's very sweet. That's so sweet." No, that's what the vibes I'm getting. I don't know if that's the real story.
The Calgar family, Wanda's kids, first learned of the engagement about 3 weeks before the wedding.
Oh, that's a big yikes.
Yeah, and Pam Calgar, I think that was her sister-in-law. Or maybe her sister.
A relative.
Yeah. Said, I was just kind of flabbergasted about the whole thing. Like, she's like.
Very fast.
Very fast. The wedding took place at the home of Wanda's brothers in Star. Myers' husband served as a witness. Myers said she looked really, really lovely that day. Aww. It was special to her. In photographs, Wanda wore a robin's egg blue dress and a white hat and carried a bouquet of white, blue, and pink flowers.
That's so cute.
Kuzmichev stood beside her in a gray 3-piece suit, looking straight ahead. And this is, you can look back.
Hindsight.
Yeah. The couple honeymooned briefly at a Boise motel, probably that night, and then traveled to Nevada, possibly to Reno or Vegas. It wasn't for sure where they went.
You're going I doubt a honeymoon would be jackpot. That's a little slumming.
Or
listen, no hate to jackpot. We have a blast
fun.
That. It's not a honeymoon location.
No.
You could make Reno a honeymoon location. This is a nice little low expectations, cheapy, bougie on a budget. So I bet it was Reno or Vegas, like you said.
Family members said Wanda avoided gambling because of her religious beliefs, so it was strange that they went to Nevada.
Well, and I bet that she also, her having to budget all these years, and because I've always been weird about gambling. I'm not religious. I'm incredibly unlucky. Proven over decades. My sister bought me 18 lottery tickets for my 18th birthday. I didn't win $1. And she bought me several $1 ones from the same row, several $5, I think even like a $50 one in there. Did not win $1. Lost. My hand was so sore. I was so excited. So I can do a little slot machine here and there. Gambling is just not my thing. And it sounds like she was a very responsible person, and so I can totally understand.
After the wedding, Wanda socialized occasionally with her sons and daughter-in-laws. The Calgers went to a Caldwell rodeo with the couple. Pam Calger said Wanda's happiness was evident.
Aww.
Her eyes would just glitter, she said. But I never saw that come back from him.
I'm not that surprised.
Neighbors at the trailer park saw Wanda more frequently gardening and tending her lawn. She told neighbors she was very happy.
She's just doing the life, tending to everything and her new husband, and how cute.
Wanda continued volunteering at church and remained close to her mother, Julia Vann, and her sons. She enjoyed biographies and classical music. Tim, her son, said she taught her children manners and discipline. No elbows on the table, he said. Proper fork in the proper place.
Classy gal.
And she didn't speak of any problems in the marriage.
I don't think even if there was problems that she would.
She sounded like a
closest confidant, but she's not talking about that with the neighbors and acquaintances.
By late summer 1995, Kuzmichev had left A&A Security and was struggling to find steady work. He told acquaintances he had difficulty getting jobs because of the publicity surrounding his past at the Ballet, Idaho, and because of his accent.
I'm sorry. He's clearly not working in ballet anymore. So I can understand if he's trying to break back into ballet somehow. But I mean, you're telling me that a children's ballet studio won't hire you? I don't think so. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so with security jobs, do you think security cares that there was drama at your ballet job with the investors and No.
He talked about returning to Russia and had recently heard from his son in Moscow. So he did have, I want to say, he was a 15-year-old when he left.
When they left. Okay.
But friends said Wanda was very optimistic about everything.
I'm sure she was very supportive.
On September 15th, 1995, Wanda arranged with her supervisor to pick up her paycheck early. That afternoon, she and Kuzmichev went shopping and bought groceries. They drove east along the Boise River to Lucky Peak State Park, where they picnicked in the heat. They returned home in the late afternoon. Yeah, September is still hot.
Hot as hell.
It is still so hot in September here. We're talking 90s, mid-90s.
Or more,
yeah.
Who knows?
Wanda prepared for work that evening. She chose pink slacks, an off-white flowered blouse, a white sweater, sandals, and gold clip-on earrings with purple stones.
Very cutesy.
She's going to go clean. That's how she dressed.
She's that girl.
She is that girl. She's going to go clean law offices, but she always
has her style.
She does have her style. And she's
Gosh. And can I just say, I know a few women like that I greatly respect that have just a unique style, just a style that's their own. And I am just in awe of these women because I'm like
jealous. I'm a shit show.
If I'm not clashing of several different patterns, it's a win for me. I'll never be the fashionista.
No.
Maybe in my old age, maybe I'll get real rich and I'll find my own style. I don't know. But it's an art form. And I love that about women. And when they're doing it, that's a little bit outside of the trending, attractive. And they're like, I don't give a fuck. Like all those ladies in New York that are just, they dress every day as a fashion show. I cannot get enough of that shit.
She definitely, and that's why I included this, is because it was part of her story. Like, she just had her style.
And that was very hard in the 90s. To go against the grain was weird.
She left her house around 7:30 p.m. in her midnight blue 1989 Buick LeSabre.
Ooh.
And drove toward downtown Boise. Kuzmichev later gave different accounts of the time she left, telling some people 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 7:35 p.m., and 9 p.m.
Oh, that's 6 to 9 p.m. That's quite a range, sir.
Wanda never completed her cleaning assignment at the law center.
And she would never do that.
During the evening of September 15th, 1995, after Wanda left their home in West Boise to clean offices downtown, Kuzmichev remained at home. He later told police that his back was bothering him and that he decided not to accompany her to work, which was the normal.
Had happened
Sometimes he
many
went,
times.
sometimes he didn't. He said he watched television and waited for her to return. Wanda normally returned home from her cleaning job between 1 and 1:30 a.m., depending on the length of her assignments and traffic conditions. There was no traffic conditions.
Not at that point, no. But maybe there was a messier building, sure.
Approximately 11:15 p.m., Kuzmichev began calling family members and acquaintances, saying that Wanda had not returned home and that he was worried. He later told investigators that he believed something might be wrong because she was dependable and rarely deviated from her routine. He called 911 shortly after midnight.
But this was not her routine.
So this is going to come into play, so I want you to remember.
Okay.
He started calling family members about a quarter after 11.
Yeah.
And then he called 911 just after midnight.
But if her regular time home was 1 to 1:30, that's a little suspicious.
At 12:23 a.m. on September 16th, Kuzmichev told the dispatcher, and I'm not making fun, I'm just quoting because it's very broken English.
Yeah, there was a language barrier.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to repeat what he said. And
He's doing his best.
I'm not mocking. I
Yeah.
just want to make that very clear. He told the dispatcher, my wife not come home. She needs come home 11:30. During a second call to 911, he was asked whether she might have gone somewhere else first. When the dispatcher asked if that was a likely situation, he said no.
She's not, where's she going? She's not bar hopping. She's not meeting with friends at that hour of the night. No.
At 4:30 a.m., Boise police officer Nicholas Dugan responded to another 911 call that he made and drove to their home. Dugan later testified that Kuzmichev was dressed in a royal blue sweatsuit and appeared confused and disoriented. He moved repeatedly between the kitchen table and the breakfast bar without completing any specific tasks. He was pacing. He shuffled papers on the counter and handed Dugan the same envelope from an out-of-state insurance company 3 separate times. Dugan said Kuzmichev seemed unable to focus and spoke in broken English.
All right. Some of this I could see, that the handing of the envelope and stuff.
Well, one thing I want to have you and our listeners realize, English is not his first language.
Yeah.
He maybe thought that giving the insurance documents would show maybe the car information.
Her full name, some piece of identity that he could. Sure. I'll take that.
Kuzmichev told Dugan that he and Wanda had gone on a picnic at Lucky Peak State Park earlier that day, and she had left for work around 7:30 p.m. I just have to tell you guys I'm giggling because I said Lucky Steak
instead of Lucky Peak. You know, everyone around Idaho knows Lucky Steak.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. He said he expected her home after 1 a.m. Dugan did not file a missing persons report at the time. He gave Kuzmichev a list of suggestions, including calling hospitals and checking with relatives. Because he's like, she's not missing. If you expected her home, So these are the things I'm going to tell you to do. Call family and friends, which you already did, right? Like check hospitals.
The morgue.
She's not missing.
Mm-hmm.
There is no...
Yeah, she's an adult woman. She could, if she wanted to go to Vegas, even though it doesn't sound like her,
Right.
she could go to Vegas if she wants.
And it seems a reasonable step for a police officer to make. Like,
It's not
look,
a
she's
child.
5 hours late. She's not been gone for 40.
Well, and you never know. People are going to... This could have been an abusive relationship where maybe the woman escaped and doesn't want to be found, and, you know, or whatever. Maybe there's drugs involved and she's on a drug binge. I mean, the officer doesn't know these people, so.
Right. Later that morning, Kuzmichev went to the Boise Police Department and filed a formal missing persons report.
Okay.
He's like, I'm not fucking around with these guys anymore. He went and did it. I think the expectation for him, having the police come out, that's what would happen.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they're like, no, you need to sit for a hot minute. Over the next several days, detectives, relatives, and volunteers searched for Wanda. Family members distributed flyers. Officers checked hospitals, shelters, and surrounding communities. Kuzmichev retraced Wanda's usual driving route for the investigators and pointed out places she might have stopped. He said she had no reason to leave voluntarily and no history of disappearing. So this is way out of what her personality, the person she is.
There's no fight or weirdness that caused this.
Because we've done stories where there are people that's like,
yeah, that's my free-spirited cousin that just goes to Italy or China and doesn't say anything to anyone for several weeks.
we don't hear from a
This
person.
was not that.
No, this was not that. Detective Dave Smith was assigned to lead the investigation, assisted by detectives Lance Anderson and Dave Henderson. That almost rhymes.
Yeah, it does.
They reviewed Wanda's work schedule, her financial records, and her personal contacts. They interviewed her supervisors, coworkers, neighbors, and family members. No one reported seeing her after she left home on September 15th.
Ooh.
So she's not hiding.
Scary.
On September 21st, 1995, shortly before 1 p.m., a jogger running near Bogus Basin Road discovered a body on a brushy hillside near Crane Creek Baptist Church in the Highlands neighborhood.
Mm.
The area lay directly across from the Simplot estate and the cottage where Kuzmichev used to live.
Not a great thing.
Officers secured the scene and called homicide investigators. The body lay face down and nude in thick brush. A tan Albertsons plastic grocery bag was tied tightly over her head.
That's terrible.
Now, this is,
Traumatizing.
yeah,
Yeah.
she wasn't left kindly. A brown 30-gallon plastic garbage bag with a yellow drawstring was wrapped around her lower legs.
What?
Gray duct tape bound the ankles. The feet protruded through the holes in the bottom of the bag. And a trail of blood extended uphill from the body towards the road, suggesting the body had been dragged or carried.
Not good.
No. Nearby, the investigators observed footprints and tire tracks, and a small piece of blue paper lay close to the body. They also found some beer cans and a bottle that was covered with dirt, which is probably people just throwing trash out. But anyways, it was noted. Because of decomposition, because of the heat in September, investigators initially could not determine whether victim was male or female. Look, if the pictures I saw on the City Confidential were actually pictures from the crime scene, I could see a picture of a bra. I mean, they were kind of distorted, like they're not going to give you, they're not, like, they were black and
there
white.
was a bra on, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So maybe they couldn't tell if the body was facing down, but
Even
back
with
of a
like
bra.
bloating and decomposition.
A back of a bra is the back of a bra.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know if those pictures were
The real one.
the real ones. So anyway, I just have to say that. The body was transported to St. Alphonsus Regional Medical Center for autopsy. That afternoon, Wanda's midnight blue Buick LeSabre was found abandoned in the parking lot of the Wearmart at Milwaukee and Fairview Avenue.
The Wearmart?
Do you remember the Wearmart?
I don't.
That was the Winco.
Really? I remember when
Generational gap there.
I know. But I do remember when Winco came to Nampa and it was like revolutionary. Like, oh my God, we have a Winco here.
Well, it was a Wearmart.
Even before in Nampa?
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Sis, yes, it was. No, I used to, when my baby boy was little, me and my girlfriend, when he was like 2 or 3, we would literally go do our grocery shopping at Wearmart at like 10 o'clock at night. So husband's tucked in, baby's tucked in, and we would go and do our grocery shopping and then stop at Denny's and have coffee. It was.
That sounds
do you know
lovely.
where it was at?
No.
It's where the Savers is at now.
Oh, okay. Maybe I do remember it.
Next to the paint store, the Sam's house.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a Wearmart.
Good old Wearmart.
I know. Yeah. And I have a hard time saying it because Wearmart is not an East. I don't know.
It's not Walmart.
No, it's not Walmart. And it's the Winco, which kudos to the marketing person on that one when they made the name change. Anyway. Yeah. I love me the Wearmart, which is now Winco's. But this Wearmart was approximately 1.5 miles from their home.
Okay.
What they're insinuating, it's walkable. I'm just going to lay it out there.
Okay.
The vehicle was unlocked. Inside, officers found no signs of forced entry. Later testing would reveal reddish brown stains in the trunk, suspected to be blood. This is the problem with the 90s. That could have been tested.
To know if it's blood, yeah, that DNA was around, and definitely knowing if it's blood was around.
At approximately 4:30 p.m. on September 21st, Kuzmichev was asked to come to the Boise Police Department for questioning. A Russian interpreter was present. During the interview, Kuzmichev repeated his account of the picnic and Wanda's departure for work. He said he had remained home because, again, of the back pain, and he said he saw her last wearing pink slacks and that flowered blouse. About an hour into the interview, Anderson asked, "Do you know what happened to Wanda?" Kuzmichev replied, "No. I heard that you found a body." Detectives noted that Kuzmichev did not ask whether the body had been identified. Henderson would later testify that he told Kuzmichev the body had been found near the 3500 block of Bovis Basin Road. When asked whether that seemed significant, Henderson said Kuzmichev responded only,
Well, that's not helpful. What do you mean? Either you know it or you don't, or you're like, that's right where I used to live.
Detectives then informed him that Wanda's car had been found at the Wearmart. Anderson said that Kuzmichev responded, "That's nice. Where?"
And again, we don't know Russian to English translations, and so
I struggle a lot with this right now.
I'm trying to give a little grace here.
He told officers that duct tape was kept in the trunk of Wanda's car. And he said that they did not use drawstring garbage bags like the one found at the scene. He said he and Wanda had been getting along well and had not been arguing. The following day, September 22nd, Wanda's family held a news conference in Star. Kuzmichev arrived late and learned publicly for the first time that the body had been identified as Wanda's. Because he didn't inquire during that questioning the day before. He just said, I heard you found a body.
I'm surprised they didn't try to use that and be like, well, it's her body, so are you going to... You know how these interrogations typically go of, we found her body, and even if they don't know shit, they're like, we already know. So
Yeah.
I can't believe they didn't exploit him not speaking fluent English to do something like that thus far.
He stood silently behind sunglasses and held hands with her mother. When asked to speak, he said, Wanda was the best woman. We have really, really good life. And investigators were focusing on Kuzmichev
Yeah,
as
no
a
shit.
suspect. I mean, and you do typically, right?
You do.
Partners, spouses, husbands, wives, that's what you look at first.
Side note, we've shared some podcasts that we like and are listening to recently. The podcast Hands Tied. I believe it's by Texas Monthly. It's on Spotify. I'm sure it's available everywhere. Goes for this trope. Man is murdered. Wife is found locked up, hands tied in the closet. She is blamed. I think they kind of give it away in the first episode. So she is blamed and convicted of the murder. But
I think I've heard it's that one, maybe not with that particular
very good.
podcast.
you probably have heard of the... I know the cases.
Was she in a bathroom?
She was in the bathroom closet, and there was like a door propped
And they
up.
said she could tie herself up?
Yes,
Okay.
but
Yeah, I have.
not the way that, because the tie-ups were all the way up her arms, and the prosecution demonstrated how you could like loop like a scrunchie, like a pair of shoelaces, or like you could just loop it to do it against your wrists, which I think we can all picture. But these ties were up her arms, and there was just... Anyway, great podcast. I love how they went into everything. But yeah,
Love the deets.
you know what? I understand police going for the spouse because it usually is. But there should be, especially in like 2015 on, there should be some cell phone, computer data. People didn't know how to cover their tracks back then. They still don't now, even knowing how much you can do. People still are fucking using their...
Still like, what
How
about...
do I bury a body? How does a body smell bad after this long being in my garage?
Google is not your friend, bro.
Google is your absolute enemy, and there is no such thing as incognito mode. If you've got VPNs and stuff, maybe, and that's still a big maybe.
They're gonna
WhatsApp chats, no.
Yeah.
They're gonna crack your code, bro.
4 days after his interview, detectives secretly placed an electronic tracking and listening device
Tracking and listening.
on his yellow pickup truck.
Oh shit.
The device operated for approximately 48 hours and did not record any incriminating conversations.
Oh shit.
I don't know what you're planning on picking. By the way, I'm just going to take a little dig. Really? He is a man that's by himself, has no family. I mean, he has his ex-wife and his daughter here. I did not research anything.
If
that
he had
showed
like a
like
sibling
a
or
good
like
bestie here or anything like that. Like he had no family members. Who the fuck is he talking to in the truck? There's no cell phone.
Is he saying to himself, man, killed her so good. Hope I don't get caught, because if they catch... And you know what? Some people do self-talk like that of like...
there was a guy that did that on the Netflix.
Yes, where he went in the bathroom to wash his hands and he was like, you're guilty. You killed them all. And he was still fucking hot mic'd up. Yeah. You killed them all. Yes, you did. I'm not quoting,
okay,
but it was...
There's some, yeah.
Maybe he would be in Russian or English to himself. I sure killed her and I'm getting away with it because these cops are dumb and they'll never
It's
catch
just
me.
kind of...
Well, and if it's a tracking and recording, usually tracking goes on the outside of the vehicle. Did they get it inside the vehicle? Like, what's the real sound quality regardless? That's what I want to know.
Did you hear his muffler? Anyway.
Engine noises. It's a yellow pickup.
You know what it probably was a Datsun.
Maybe it was a fucking Ford Ranger. Old school.
Fucking Ford Ranger?
You know? Those were...
I don't recall yellow Ford Rangers.
I still dig a fucking... I'm just hoping because I love a Ford Ranger. I'll say it.
Get that information, just the color. The FBI contacted authorities in Ukraine and Russia to investigate
Oh, shit.
Kuzmichev's background and claims of
They're like, we can get the records.
and prosecution. Detectives also consulted ballet experts about the knot used on the grocery bag that was over Mama's head.
Oh, if it's like one that's used for ballet, like shoes or something?
They did indicate, I don't know if I wrote this down, that it seemed to be a special knot. But
Certainly not smoking gun.
I don't feel like it
No,
was.
not at all. But suspicious.
By late September, investigators had recovered Kuzmichev's fingerprints from the garbage bag and from the trunk and gear shift of Wanda's car. No other usable prints were found in the vehicle.
That's weird because you figure they'd be both driving the vehicle. Like, why weren't his prints all over it?
By early October, the investigation centered almost exclusively on Kuzmichev.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all the way into January, a new year, 1996.
96.
Kuzmichev called Detective Smith and asked for a meeting. He said his son in Moscow, sorry.
Not Moscow, Idaho.
I know, it's just I have it.
Moscow or Moscow. Which is which? Because we call it Moscow around here. Is it Moscow?
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's Moscow in Russia.
Okay.
Moscow here, right?
I thought so. Who knows? Someone will help us.
No, we say Moscow.
We say Moscow.
Yeah.
For sure.
But over there, it's Moscow.
I think it is.
You know what I'm talking about. The big city in Russia. So his son had invited him to visit and he wanted permission to travel.
Trying to not look suspicious. Okay.
Smith implied that during this conversation, Detective Smith implied that the surveillance cameras on the Simplet property and the ATM had recorded the killer. That, in fact, was a lie.
Maury's on the case, folks.
And then Kuzmichev asked for a lawyer. Smith told him only guilty people ask for attorneys.
Which is something that a lot of detectives say.
And also asked whether he believed in God or not.
Oh, that's a little serious.
Look,
I don't love it.
I'm not liking it, especially with the language barrier.
Mm-hmm.
After consulting prosecutors, police arrested him. They thought he was a flight risk.
Sure. I'm sure they could make that case easily, even if his trip to Russia was innocent. It's like he's literally trying to leave.
But I don't think they had... I'm just... Put this in your pocket. He wanted to make sure he was... I feel like he wanted to make sure he was doing the right thing, and he asked the police if that was going to be a problem.
I agree. I guess I'd have to know their extraditions in Russia at that time.
They're not extraditing. But
So it's like, well, then bring your son here, is what I would say.
But why wouldn't he just get on a plane?
Right, because we didn't have TSA back then. If you went to go get checked into a flight, you weren't getting your
I mean, look at fucking Mr. Worldwide Thomas.
Pre 9/11. No one knew shit about fuck. It was like taking a Greyhound. Anonymous.
So I just put that in your pocket. Detectives distributed flyers in stores. This is after January. So it's been, what are we, 4 months?
Yeah, 3 or 4 months.
Wait, September.
3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months, yeah. Flyers were distributed to stores in the Fairview Avenue area showing Kuzmichev's photograph and asking for information. At Walmart, checker Terry Sue Watson recognized the image. She remembered a man buying duct tape, garbage bags, and rope early in the morning around the time Wanda disappeared.
Ooh.
He didn't smile, Watson said. The look in his face was not welcoming. It wasn't friendly. She later identified Kuzmichev in a lineup and again in court. I have major problems with this. Because she literally stared at this fucker's picture in her fucking lunchroom. It was very easy to pick him out of a lineup.
Yeah. The lineup thing.
I don't like it.
And even
4 months later.
And even though this was before the times of linking a credit card to a purchase easily or camera footage from months earlier, did they not have even a sales system where they could be like, here's a rope, garbage bag purchased on the... If you can go down to the day, yeah, there's going to be a lot of purchases, but you sift through it. This is good old-fashioned police work. Show me the receipts.
And 4 months later, you saw some picture of a dude that had been plastered all over the news and the newspaper. You're like, oh yeah, I definitely remember him.
I don't love it.
Do you think the detectives went to the Walmart when her car was found in that fucking parking lot?
You would think.
And questioned anybody?
Suspicious? Anything weird? Yeah.
I just don't like it.
I don't love it.
The investigation continued into 1996 as the prosecutors prepared their case. During the first days of testimony in January of 1997, prosecutors began laying out their case through a series of witnesses whose accounts centered on Kuzmichev's behavior before and after Wanda's disappearance, the physical evidence, and statements allegedly made while he was in custody. Son Tim was among the first family members called. He testified about his mother's long years as a single parent, her devotion to her children and church, and her loneliness following the death of her daughter Tanya in 1991. He told jurors that Wanda rarely dated and that the relationship with Kuzmichev developed privately and quickly.
Yeah.
The first time we knew about the engagement was about 3 weeks before the wedding, he said.
Well, and that's one thing it makes me wonder if she was lonely and connected with friends and family, like why she wasn't bragging about this or just updating people where people were so surprised. Makes me a little iffy.
I think that maybe she was nervous about I'm just playing devil's advocate here. She could have been nervous about the relationship and that it was going anywhere because she had been single for so long.
And she probably didn't want people to think she was, out there.
Weird.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sure.
Tim said neither he nor most of the family met Kuzmichev until the wedding in May 1995. He described the ceremony and star as small and hurried and said Wanda was joyful and hopeful. She looked really, really lovely, Mary Myers had said. It was special to her. Tim said he did not see the same enthusiasm in Kuzmichev. I never really felt comfortable with him, he testified. He said Wanda quickly added his name to her trailer, title, and financial accounts because she wanted him to feel secure. She wanted him to feel like he belonged, Tim said. She wanted him to feel like it was his home, too. He testified that Kuzmichev brought very little into the marriage. He basically came with a suitcase.
His little suitcase, yeah.
Tim told jurors that after Wanda disappeared, Kuzmichev gave him different times for when she left for work. He told me 6 o'clock once, he said, then 7, then 7:35, then 9. He said the shifting stories troubled him. It didn't make sense to me, he said. I didn't understand why he couldn't keep it straight.
And, I think there's something to be said about that, because especially when he's calling at 11 p.m., it's not like a week went by where he thought she was traveling and then it was like, oh, what time did she leave for her flight last week? I'm not sure. This is literally 5-6 hours before. What time did she leave? A good hour estimate at least.
Right.
Come on.
We all know the shows you watch every night.
And especially in that time,
Especially.
What do you watch the nightly news every night? Well, was it before or after that?
Was it Jeopardy? Was it Wheel of Fortune?
Yeah.
Was it Golden Girls? Maybe. But I will say, when he was arrested, guess where he was living? Not in the trailer. He was living with his ex's parents because he gave the trailer back to the kids.
Okay. That's a very good point.
I just had to note that. And there was some pressure from them. I'm not saying that he was like, oh,
No, they could have very well been like, listen up, motherfucker.
Yeah. There was a little bit of, but he
did it. And in Idaho.
Dead to rights, he didn't have to.
Yeah, in Idaho, he did. If it wasn't written out specifically, he did not have to.
She just went and changed it.
Yeah. Okay. Good point.
Officer Nicholas Dugan testified about responding to the 911 call in the early morning hours of September 16th. Again, he talked about him being disoriented and moving about quite a bit without really doing anything. Talking about him handing the same insurance envelope over and over again, 3 times, he said. And Dugan said Kuzmichev told him Wanda had left for work around 7:30 p.m. and should have been home by about 1:30 a.m. Dugan said he did not file a missing persons report at the time and instead gave him a list of actions to take. I am slightly concerned that there might have been some translation issues.
I'm
Because
sure there was. And especially at this time in the 90s, no one was holding space for people that don't speak English. Like that wasn't, sure there was some, sure, in maybe like the refugee organizations, and they understood. This was definitely a time of speak English, you're in America, like 100% from, and expecting people to not have an accent or understanding that people might not have the right words. I digress.
But have you ever had a job where it's not by the hour, it's just something you had to complete? And have you ever said, oh, this will take me about 3 hours, or I should be gone about 5 hours, even though maybe normally on another night when you're doing another job that you're paid to just complete the job, it might take you 5 hours. Could it be possible that when Wanda left the house that night, she said, oh, this will be fast. It's only going to take me about 3 hours. Even though
She's paid for that extra hours. Sure, and a lot of times with cleaners, it's almost a flat fee. A lot of
it could be like hourly, but it's like a flat fee. Like I know that like
we're paying you this much a week to clean our office building. If you can get it, and that's how cleaners that are like they're self-employed usually make their money, because if they're very good,
they'll get it.
They can turn it.
They
can turn it over. Yeah.
So I just want to throw that out there.
Good point.
Devil's advocate. Could there been maybe that was a light duty night for her? It is a freaking law office.
Yeah, there shouldn't be like
it's vacuuming,
light dusting, taking out trash, maybe emptying trashes. Wiping down the communal kitchen sink.
They're not cleaning your desk off. You do not touch desks. You're doing
light maintenance.
Yeah. So maybe she.
Hopefully nobody shit all over a toilet or something.
Look, I'm not trying to. I just like on my brain.
We know the type of job it is.
My brain is very. Look,
Context.
I want hardcore. Give me DNA. Give me video. I don't like
Wishy-washy.
that they're not taking into consideration that possibly there's a language barrier, or that possibly was the question ever asked? Did she say nowhere in my research did she say she was going to be home by 11:30?
Why are you calling us at 11:30 if she's not supposed to be home by 1? That's the question I want an answer to.
Damn, I wish I had the file. So Detective Dani. Anyways, that's the answers. That's what I want to know. I'm just.
Well, and detective and police work was shitty back then. Way shitty. The amount of false confessions and shit. Still shitty now. Less shitty, but there's still shittiness happening. So, listen, I can totally see someone being like, this Russian. Sure.
Yeah.
Let's hear about it.
So listen, one of the detectives, he was cleared, but he shot somebody while he was off duty. And I just don't like it. I know too much.
I'm so fucking sick of that shit of hearing about off-duty cops.
And I refuse to like dig deep into it. I just want to find out if he was cleared or not. It was fucking sketchy. Anyway, that's just my initial.
It's a common theme of cops that are off duty.
His wife was in the fucking car.
Disgusting.
He was in a marked police car doing some fucking concert duty. Anyway, I wasn't happy with it. I wasn't happy, especially after.
It was sketch.
Yeah. Okay.
And a lot of times when you hear about
digress.
those types of shootings, it's almost as if they get more amped up not being in uniform because someone isn't showing them the amount of respect they're used to. And so then they're like, oh, I'm going to show you. Yeah, no, we see it all the time.
So I'm playing.
No, I'm glad
Like,
you
it's
are.
very-
And I'm trying to be open as well.
Yeah, it's
Even though I'm like, fuck this dude.
I am not happy with the evidence here. And that's my problem. Is I'm actually hot about it right now.
I can tell.
Because I just need more. And the reasonable doubt part of me, like, look, it has to be 100% for me.
Or just like the possibility of it being anybody else is nearly impossible. Because I can get on that bandwagon.
Nearly impossible. But anyway, and I'm not saying this, I don't know about his ballet background. I don't like the language barrier. I don't feel like that was respected.
Oh, I'm sure it wasn't.
And then I think his downfall at the Idaho Ballet, detectives immediately assumed he was a dirtbag.
They latched onto it, which it could have been a thing. But I mean, listen, there's plenty of dudes that get their egos hurt and bitch about it for years and they don't go around killing people.
Right.
They're annoying as fuck and they clearly have a complex, but they're not out murdering people. So she took the cardigan off.
The flannel.
I
am fired up about
She
it.
fanned
Okay.
the shirt. So let's take a breather.
Cheers. When Detective Lance Anderson testified about interviewing Kuzmichev on September 21st, 1995, the day Wanda's body was found, he described Kuzmichev's demeanor as restrained and unemotional. During the taped interview played for jurors, Anderson testified that Kuzmichev does not ask many questions about the body. When told that Wanda's car had been found, he replied, "That's nice. Where?" I don't like that because I feel like
You could be like, good, this will help lead us to her.
and Detective Anderson said he found that response unusual. But with the language barrier,
Well, and it's all context. So that's nice. Like if someone said, That's nice. God, I love that car. And I would have been so sad. That's a different thing than, that's great. Did it have any, like, where was it? Was it nearby somewhere we can put a search party out?
That's great. You found evidence.
We have a clue that maybe we can search in the area. So, no, I get it. I'm right there with you on this.
I'm not feeling this. Okay. The videotape showed Kuzmichev frequently using an interpreter and struggling with phrasing. When Anderson asked what he thought what had happened, Kuzmichev said, quote, "I think somebody needs caught." When told that the body had been found but not yet identified, Kuzmichev said, "Maybe it's not Wanda."
Which most people will hope for, even like in the most dire circumstances where there's no chance of it being someone else. So
Anderson also testified that Kuzmichev said he hadn't been near Bogus Basin Road since 1994.
this is a tough one.
Are you feeling me on this?
I'm feeling it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Judge Schwartzman later warned prosecutors during the trial not to allow Anderson to speculate about Kuzmichev's body language because he was trying to, quote, "Your witness cannot start analyzing responses," Schwartzman said. "He's looking up, he's looking down, he's sweating. That leaves the jury with the impression he's lying."
And listen up. This doesn't mean that I'm behind this guy. I don't love the story leading up to it. Seems like typical, weird,
No, I totally agree.
As women, we see the patterns of toxic men. So, and listen, every pattern doesn't mean it's the rule. But for how frustrating it is for me, I love the English language. And when I can't find the right word, and I'm not even talking a $10 word, just like there's a specific word and for some reason it's not coming to me, that's so frustrating to me because it's not going to convey what I'm trying to say. So I can't imagine trying to speak in a different language in an elementary way and knowing that if I say this in the same, and this is, but just if I'm at like a 4th grade English level or a 6th grade or even a sophomore in high school, it's not going to say, I'm trying to say a specific thing. So I can understand someone being like, no, bring my translator or bring a translator.
But even translation, I wish I knew more about this translator.
It can be subjective.
There is literally, so I had a person in my life for many, many years that spoke Spanish, but was from Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
To speak Spanish
that
to
dialect
somebody from Mexico was difficult for the translation due to slang.
There's so much dialect.
And interpretation of what different words mean.
And it depends how dedicated the translator is, too, of accuracy, of really trying to
Were you a
explain.
Russian cop working for the Boise Police Department?
Yeah. And so...
No, like, seriously.
So I can totally empathize with someone guilty or innocent.
No.
Whether or not...
And that's all
you deserve
I'm
to have
trying
your
to say.
words. You want your words to have meaning. Sure. I get it.
I'm just not liking it. Because look, if you've listened to our podcast, we will definitely slam a convict.
Well, and we've slammed him even just on his behavior before, you know. I don't love his egotistical behaviors before.
I'm just not feeling good about the trial. That's
Okay.
what I'm saying.
Oh Lord, she's grabbing my arm. This means shit's getting crazy.
Detective Smith also testified about the use of jailhouse informants.
Oh God.
He said he initially placed, He said he initially placed a Russian-speaking inmate near Kuzmichev, but the inmate reported nothing. The Russian-speaking inmate introduced Kuzmichev to Jason Aken.
Sure.
Aken.
Again, I don't know.
Who said he had overheard incriminating statements. I told Mr. Akin that he would receive nothing for his testimony, Smith said, and he indicated he understood.
That's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Jason Akin testified during the trial. He told jurors that he met Kuzmichev in the Ada County Jail after seeing a television report about the case. He said they began talking and that Kuzmichev admitted killing his wife. It wasn't premeditated, Akin said. Kuzmichev told him they were arguing about going back to Russia. He testified that Kuzmichev said, I didn't mean to hurt her. He said Kuzmichev told him a woman helped him dump the body near Bogus Basin Road. He took her there because that place was familiar to him, Akin said.
And let me just interject here. And a lot of folks will be like, well, how would someone know some of these details? Snitchery is an occupation in jail. And there are some that are truly providing good info, but then there's others that are on the call or letters with their family, or someone's just sending this to them without them asking for it, of here's the headlines, here's this, here's that. So someone having some public details doesn't mean that someone else told them that. Now, if there was something that was never released to the public, like let's say, she had X mark slashed into her feet, but nobody knew that. Sure, that could be maybe if there was no public information of that, that might help verify. But no, people don't want to stay in prison. There's things you can do in prison to make your life easier, to make yourself known, to make yourself important to other people so you don't get fucked up. And there's other ways to lessen your time. This is one of them. It's like a side job. It can be anyway.
I would also like to say, and I'm not disparaging age, he was 21 years old and had multiple felonies and misdemeanors and a hot shit show.
People have got a lot of, listen, if I know a lot of people might say, I would never lie. If you were facing 30 years and can bring it down to 4 for some reason, that's an incredible difference. Think of your salary over 30 years. Think of just the money that you could earn and how much being outside of society for 30 years, how much that would hurt you. Not being able to go to an accredited school, most likely. Not being able to
we have seen this too with some of this restitution that comes back to these people. I'm like,
wrongfully convicted.
That's not enough.
Because you've lost.
You've been in jail for 30 years. You don't have a family. You're never going to have children. You don't have a career.
Even if you were a carpenter and any blue collar job, you haven't had the opportunity
to become a supervisor or a lead, or you've been
literally frozen in time.
Are we chopsticking about this?
We are.
During cross-examination, Akin admitted he hoped his testimony would help him at his parole hearing.
Precisely.
He admitted to multiple convictions and said he had lied to his mother about his plans to testify. He said he had attention deficit disorder and trouble staying out of trouble without medication. Well, this is the 90s, and yes, it
was a thing. It was new, though.
It was new.
New as far as like the mainstream, sure.
Yeah. Akin's mother, Deborah Akin, testified that she had received threatening calls before her son testified. Defense attorneys...
Is it the Simplot family again?
Yeah. Defense attorneys sought a mistrial. Because they're like, you cannot put the whole defense... Like, they didn't know anything about it. But Judge Schwarzman denied it. When prosecutor Roger Bourne asked if she believed her son was telling the truth, Schwarzman intervened. That question was totally improper, he said. Whether he is telling the truth is up to the motherfucking jury. And he didn't say motherfucker.
I wish he would have, though. Let's get Samuel L. Jackson up in this fucking courtroom.
You want to talk about Terry Sue Weirmart?
Sure do.
Yeah. She testified that she worked early morning shifts and remembered a man buying duct taped garbage bags and clothesline rope around the time Wanda disappeared. It was about 5 a.m., she said. Most people are getting their donuts and are pretty cheery. She said the man did not speak or smile.
You've got the morning people. I can see that.
He didn't say hi, she said. He didn't say anything. She said she looked up at the items and thought, what's he going to do with this stuff? Tie somebody up? Like, haha. She said when she saw a flyer with Kuzmichev's photo months later, she felt sick. I didn't feel right, she said. I dwelled on it and dwelled on it. She later viewed a lineup and identified Kuzmichev as the customer. In court, she pointed to him and said she was 100% sure.
And you know, she may have been, but your point about if a flyer's been in the break room for months, you've been staring at it at
And what do we know about eyewitness testimony?
it can be, and it can still be true too, but it's just,
Your memory is not...
if you hear that someone is like tied up and nothing jogs your memory, it seems like it was very impactful for you. So what made it not impactful enough that you, I don't know. It's tough.
Look, if I was working at the Weirmart as a checker at 5 a.m. and somebody came through with duct tape and rope and garbage bags, I would be watching the fucking news. But that's just me.
And maybe it was someone that wasn't sure. And they're like, oh, that was just a weird encounter that sticks with them. But it's like, you know what? Working with the public, you get a lot of fucking weird people.
Can I just tell you, I don't think I wrote this down. It came out that the brand of garbage bags and duct tape were not even sold at the Weirmart.
Okay. Interesting.
Medical and forensic witnesses testified that Wanda's body had a plastic bag tightly wrapped around her head and that the duct tape bound her ankles. The pathologist testified he could not conclusively determine the cause of death, but said suffocation was the most likely explanation. Prosecutors presented evidence that Kuzmichev's fingerprints were found on the bag around Wanda's feet, on the trunk lid, and on the gear shift of her car. Blood consistent with Wanda's was found in the trunk.
Okay, and I mean, his fingerprints would be on the trunk lid and in the car.
There's
the
a
bag, sure.
There's going to be, well, they said the only fingerprints that they found on the car was on the gear shift and on the trunk.
How in the fuck could that be?
So they're insinuating that he wiped down that whole fucking car
Only to leave his print.
only to leave his fingerprints on the gear shift on the trunk. I just don't like it.
Her prints have to be somewhere. I'm so sorry.
So somebody completely wiped.
Or someone else killed her, and then he found the car and went and touched it, and then left and was like, I don't know about, like, what?
They're saying he wiped down the car completely, except for the gear shift and the trunk.
That's, listen, I understand forgetting the visor, forgetting the mirror, the rear view mirror, forgetting maybe one handle that you thought you didn't touch. I don't think you're forgetting the gear shift or the trunk lid. If you've put a body to transport into the trunk, you know, I mean,
don't like it.
listen, there's plenty of stupid criminals who have done far stupider things, but if you're gonna wipe
Preach.
down every and
I had to.
and who wouldn't if you've gotten away with it for that long? oh, every mental hospital's giving me a day pass, a weekend pass. I can just go fucking statewide and murder people. Anyway.
Defense witnesses testified that Kuzmichev had legitimate reasons for touching the trunken car, because it was his wife's car,
Yeah.
including helping load vegetables. Oleg and Ludmila, Kavitko testified they saw him lift the trunk the days before Wanda disappeared. And that was his ex-in-laws.
Right. Okay.
And his daughter, I think that was her formal name. She ended up changing her name later.
Really?
His daughter did. It was kind of... Anyways. By the end of the third week, jurors had heard testimony from more than 50 witnesses, viewed more than 80 pieces of evidence, and listened to conflicting accounts that centered on Kuzmichev's shifting timelines, his fingerprints, the store clerk's identification, and the jailhouse informant's claim.
Okay.
So,
I can understand why you weren't stoked about it.
no, so this was a hugely circumstantial case. The only evidence, first of all, they were going for the death penalty, and Judge Person was like,
Absolutely not.
and they pushed for it. The prosecution pushed for it.
And they
because-
shouldn't, because especially coming off of the decades that we've seen of the fuckery, we had fucked around for years. Then early 90s, we were just starting to find out. For real.
Yeah, FAFO. But this is how bad the prosecution wanted the death penalty. They're like, well, if you're choking for somebody for 3 to 5 minutes, that is premeditated. That's where they were at with the premeditation.
And I've seen that in other cases too, where I really don't agree with it. And a lot of these cases are so heinous and so cut and dry that it's like, this person definitely did it. But I'm like, that's stretching the premeditation for me.
I think premeditation requires like
Planning, thinking about it, whether you write it down or not, if you can prove talking to a friend or things behaviorally, moving assets.
because they couldn't
adjusting
even tie, or
wells.
buying the rope before. They could only they only were tying in that kind of evidence after.
Well, and that was very like crucial to me, hearing that someone bought rope and duct tape or whatever the fuck, but hearing that those brands aren't even sold there, that completely nixes it for me. So it's the brand that was found on the body. If it's not sold there, maybe someone creepy did come in.
They did find his. Okay, so this is one thing about watching that City Confidential that I was like, oh, maybe I'm totally off key. So like, his fingerprints was found on the garbage bag that was around her. Look,
And that means a lot, but
I'm gonna tell you, I have kept garbage bags in the back of my car
yeah.
before. Like,
Because you never know. Dirty shoes, muddy boots.
I have
Dog
totally
accident.
kept them there. I think it was mostly dog shit. Not literally dog shit, but dog stuff.
Yeah.
I've literally had a folded up garbage bag in the back of my trunk before.
You never know.
And
Danny's
I'm not driving a
prepared.
pickup. Like, I'm a cute little car. The City Confidential thing was like, and his fingerprints were found, were on the inside of the tape that was wrapped around her, the duct tape. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I am
Smoking
way
gun.
off.
Smoking
Way
gun.
off. But then later they say that there were partial prints that couldn't be.
Give us something. Give us something.
So they couldn't really put the prints that were on the inside of the duct tape. Like if you're rolling duct tape around something, your fingers are touching it. Like there's no way to get your fingerprints on
To
them.
rip it. Yeah.
You guys know what I'm saying. So, but then to come back and say, well, they weren't conclusively hit.
Then you can't say that.
Shut your mouth. Okay. As the prosecution and defense concluded their cases in early February 97, jurors were presented with closing arguments that reflected the sharply different interpretations of the evidence that we just fully went over.
Yeah.
Over 4 weeks of testimony. Roger Bourne told jurors that Wanda's midnight blue 89 Buick LeSabre held the answers to the case. Have you ever wished a car could talk? Bourne asked. If so, this Buick would tell us who was Wanda's killer. He pointed to fingerprints on the trunk, gear shift, and garbage bag, and to the inconsistency in Kuzmichev's statements. Why can't he keep track of time? Bourne asked. The reason is he hadn't thought this thing through.
Or he's an artiste.
Bourne argued that suffocation requires sustained effort, and it wasn't a quick and easy death, he said. Gus Cahill, and he has been in our ship before. That was the defense attorney. I can't remember. I should have went through the cases, but he's been on our cases before.
No, I recognize it.
Challenged the state's case as speculative and invasive. Police used wiretaps and phone taps, he said. They followed Kuzmichev and found a jailhouse snitch. He told jurors the investigation was built on a number of invasions of this freedom. He argued that fingerprints without timing were meaningless. They've got fingerprints, he said, but they can't tell you when or how they got there. Cahill said the state had failed to prove motive. There's nothing that proved my client killed Wanda, he said. And I'm telling you, there's no motive. He didn't even keep the house.
No, I agree. I think usually when you see this, it's a lot more obvious. But were there things that were just betrothed to him because she already switched over a 401k, a life insurance?
Maybe, possibly.
So he's like, yeah, fuck that house.
It's not screaming life
fuck
insurance.
that house. Give it to the kids.
It's not screaming life insurance.
And it sounds like her kids were probably really passionate about her. So I bet that they were like, motherfucker, don't try us. Maybe in a nice, possibly
I definitely
way.
feel like the kids were like,
yeah, fuck off.
And you know what? If
As they
that
said.
had happened to me with my inheritance and my parents had only been married to somebody else for 4 months, I'd be like,
Yeah.
Under suspicious circumstances, I will box you.
Yeah.
Come here. Anyway. Judge Alan Swartzman instructed the jury and sent 8 women and 4 men to deliberate.
Oh. A highly woman.
Yes.
You don't see that all the time.
They began at 2 p.m. and deliberated for more than 6 hours before they recessed. Over the next 2 days, look at juries deliberating.
Great job.
Deliberation stretched past 18 hours. Boise defense attorney Thomas McCabe, who wasn't involved in the case, he was just in the papers, said the length favored the defense. The fact that they are taking this long means somebody in there has doubts, he said. If the jury came back quickly, it would have been bad for the state.
And that's very cut and dry. Sometimes it takes 18 hours to get that one holdout to go for a guilt. So most good prosecutors or even defense attorneys will say, you do not know with a jury. I mean, look at Casey Anthony. Everyone thought she was dead to rights. That jury came back quick as fuck, which is usually great for the prosecution. Like, oh, boom. And they're like, well, we don't know exactly how the baby died. So she's innocent of everything, was essentially. And even if it's not right, this has to do with jury instructions and people's understanding of the law. Because some people think that the defense has to prove someone innocent. That's not the case. No. The burden is on the prosecution.
I got a fucking quote for you here in a minute.
Oh, I'm so fucking stoned.
On February 9th, after 3 days of deliberations, juries returned a verdict of guilty of second-degree murder.
Okay.
Because Judge Schwartzman said, you're not getting the death penalty. He literally
And it's good for it's just good for everyone. You don't do that unless it's crazy.
Maria Borders handed the verdict to bailiff Jack Henricus. Schwartzman read, guilty of murder in the second degree. Several family members gasped and began crying. Kuzmichev looked first at his attorney and then at his interpreter, but showed no visible emotion. Cahill leaned forward and laid his head on the table.
Oh.
He's like, really? Jurors later said fingerprints on the garbage bag were decisive. I was waiting for the defense to bring up some solid evidence to sway me away from the state's evidence. Juror Paul Philbrook said, when the defense said that they were done with their case, we were like shocked. We asked, what? That's it?
And sometimes you've got to spell it out in every way.
And Borders said deliberations were emotional. We went through so many doubts. She said, please tell us this man is innocent. But unfortunately, beyond a reasonable doubt, we could not find that. That's not it. It's supposed to be guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Not
innocent.
Not innocent beyond a reasonable doubt.
They're saying we wanted them to prove him innocent more.
The quote was, please tell us this man is innocent. But unfortunately, beyond a reasonable doubt, we could not find that.
And you hear this type of stuff from jury, that hands tied thing. They interviewed a juror that was like, well, yeah, everything was very weird, but the defense could not prove to me that anyone else was in the house. That's not their burden to prove that.
I fucking cringed when I read that quote.
Oh, I hate this shit. And I feel like I think it's different.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like, jury instructions differ from state to state, and they should, because there's different things that they have to consider. But we've got to find a way to more clearly state that, because you have to listen to this podcast, because it was like 5-4 or something. It was very close on guilty, innocent. And you can tell that this dude, and no shade to this dude.
No,
but that
he's
a very
this person.
He's a convincing person. And he's, it was 12 Angry Men. Iconic movie. No matter what the hell happened in the courtroom, emotions can run high, and people's own strengths and weaknesses can come out, and people might just cave to something. And I feel like that's sometimes something that happens. Anyway, let's get back to the story.
Well, my biggest thing with this is that I felt like instructions were not properly given, because that is not the instruction of a jury. You
have to go off only the evidence that's provided,
and it has to be guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, not innocent beyond a reasonable doubt. And so I feel like that just raised, I literally fucking cringed when I read that quote by a juror.
It doesn't make me feel good.
No. Tim Calgar said after the verdict, what happened to my mother was despicable. It was. Family friend Lynn Compton said, he took this cultured lady, stripped her of her dignity, and threw her in the weeds like garbage. And she was.
No, it was a terrible way to die.
Vetta Varner, who worked with Wanda for 17 years, said she walked into work every day for 17 years and could have been on the cover of a magazine. I said she was cute. She was always a lady.
Oh.
Varner added, it haunts me some nights what he did to her. But if she were here, she would forgive him for it.
Oh.
Wanda was just a classy, gracious lady, is from everything.
And a very giving lady, it sounds like.
On June 4th, 1997, Schwartzman sentenced Kuzmichev to life in prison with the eligibility for parole after 20 years. He said there were many, many factors that point exonerably to your guilt, though he gave little weight to Atkins' testimony. I feel compelled to speak of the increased use of jailhouse snitch testimony, Schwartzman said. He expressed sympathy for Kuzmichev's daughter, calling her the other victim in this case. And I agree. Kuzmichev addressed the court. This trial is as horrible to me as the members of Wanda's family, he said. I am not guilty in the death of my wife. Bourne suggested domestic abuse as a possible motive, citing an incident in which Kuzmichev slapped Wanda's wrist. Admittedly, I'm trying to read between the lines here, Bourne said. He was no longer a ballet master. It rankled him that he was relying on her for financial support. Maybe.
And as we said, like, this was not uncommon, and these are two grown adults. No matter if she had been lonely for some time and he had been humbled by him not working. Once you're older, the easiness and convenience of a relation, of just having a partner, you're not looking for that huge romance. And because you know that having a true partner that you can do life with is way more valuable than having the
Passionate
drama. And, you know, because often it leads to toxicity. So you're like, if we can get along and we both have the same outlooks on life, we can both live with each other in the same place, it means a lot. The older you get, it means a lot more. You don't need that craziness for a relationship.
No.
And you might not want no crazy. That's me. I'm like, craziness.
No, I'm a way down low on crazy.
Yeah, we're keeping it down here.
Tim's uncle Daryl said after sentencing, I'd like to know the answer why. I'm disappointed there wasn't more evidence.
Mm-hmm. And motive, because I know nobody has to prove that. I know it's not required in almost all states. But that allows so much more closure. If you can find like they would have been able to find, he made her put her will of her pension or something.
Yeah, he killed her for money, or he killed her because she didn't want to go to
he was telling his girlfriends, he had girlfriends on the side, and he was telling them all that he was going to have a big payday soon, and then she died. Sure. I feel better about it.
Tim said that the case devastated the family. This is so sad. One brother later died by suicide, and another struggled with alcoholism. He was deep in that.
Damn.
And Wanda's mother died a year later. My grandmother quit, Tim said. She said, I don't want to live anymore.
The heartbreak.
We're asking questions about the evidence and conviction.
And people that we don't know.
But ultimately, there was a wonderful...
She's gone, regardless.
That's gone. And it still affects the family and in so many ways. And I'm just...
And that it wasn't an open and shut, or at least even a heavy evidence case where you're like, I feel confident.
They had no motive, which is even worse for the family, you know. And they got their conviction. I do believe the family believes he did it, and that's fine. And I'm not saying he didn't do it or did do it. I'm just saying I don't like the evidence.
It's surely plausible that he did it.
It is plausible. I just don't like the evidence.
I would like more.
I want more.
To be passionate about it, for sure.
Yeah. So I just question the evidence and where it's at.
No, this was a tough one.
Kuzmichev appealed his conviction. In January 1999, his attorneys argued that testimony from Watson and Atkin should not have been admitted. That's the grocery store clerk and the jailhouse snitch.
Sure.
Deputy Attorney General Kenneth Jurgensen responded that the clerk only reported what she saw and the police had not overreached.
And she could have saw someone that was unfriendly, unsmiling, that bought that stuff, but it's not available.
To pick up on the lineup, I just don't think that should be admitted. She already saw his picture hanging in the break room.
For how long?
Yeah. On April 3rd, 1999, the Idaho Supreme Court unanimously, big word, multiple syllables.
We're doing it.
Upheld the conviction and sentence. Justice Gerald Schroeder wrote that Schwartzman had not erred in any major ruling. So he's like, there could have been little things, but not these big things. So we're good.
It's so hard to overturn
it is
just about. And this one,
There's
Nothing was
redos.
technically wrong, but it's all very side-eye.
In October 2006, son Tim learned Kuzmichev was dying of cancer and might be eligible for compassionate release. I thought once you got a fixed sentence, you got a fixed sentence, Tim said. If he died in prison, he died in prison. The Commission of Pardons and Parole denied early release. Olivia Craven from the department said the decision focused on the seriousness of the crime. After learning Kuzmichev would remain in prison, Tim began writing him a letter. Nobody wants to be without God when they die, Tim said. He asked Kuzmichev to find faith. The letter included a line Tim said took 11 years to write. I want you to know that I forgive you with all my heart. Ooh, I feel so bad for this family. The letter was postmarked November 11th, 2006. Kuzmichev died that same day in the infirmary at the Idaho State Correctional Institution. Warden Randy Blake confirmed he died of cancer.
What the hell? Did he get the letter? Most likely not in a jail if you're not in your
He did not
cell.
get the letter. He died the same day it was postmarked, so he did not get the letter.
Post. Okay, yeah.
Mother never got a choice of where she got to die, and I think it was important that he didn't have the opportunity to die in peace. Tim said he felt relief and sorrow. This thing will never go away, he said. It will never go away.
And it never does.
So he was trying to get out in October, and he died like a month later, almost to the day. So, I mean, he was very sick, and I'm not saying that. It's just, I don't know, I kind of have a little bit of compassion for people who are dying.
Especially with the doubt, of...
I have a little bit of, you know what? I have a handful of criminals, well, actually more than that we've done research on. I'm like, no, you don't get your family.
But like the ice cream shop murders, where there was the 4 that were jailed, the 2 that confessed, that were in jail for years, and then the DNA proved that they could have never been a part of it. But the town wanted to heal. This was tearing the town apart. It was 4 boys convicted of killing 4 girls. It fit, it sounded plausible, and so many people were like, why would you ever confess to a crime that you never did? Well, go under 18 hours of interrogation as a teenager or young adult. And then they were proven. So I think it's such human nature to want a resolution and want an answer that, and again, nothing did prove him innocent either. I know we're not looking for that. I wish there would have been some DNA that showed him someone completely different all over
and
her.
that might have happened later.
But it's just...
Look, I'm not saying he didn't do it.
No, me either.
I just don't like the evidence didn't feel
And knowing...
weighty enough for me to
Yeah.
be like, it just raised a lot of, because I'm not saying he's innocent at
Me
all.
either.
He was convicted. He's died in prison.
And it was
it's
very
done.
suspicious. There was some suspicious
There was
stuff.
some weird things going on. I am super
I want
into,
something more.
and I didn't like, I don't like jail hostages.
I didn't like that in the grocery store.
No.
I feel like suspicious.
Yeah, I just didn't like,
We need a little more.
I
Even
don't
though it
feel
was a
good
dream.
about it. That's all I'm saying. But the main thing is, poor Wanda.
Her life was taken and she was disposed of in just a inhumane, disgusting way. And that's such a shame.
But what caught my eye about this was bringing, Mr. Worldwide and how he
The
was
KGB.
that I've ever got to say the KGB in one of our podcasts.
in
Amazing
little
Balls.
old Taterland.
In Taterland. Thank you, City Confidential.
Not derogatory when we say it.
No, we have that right.
It's with love.
We have that right. But then his rise and fall from grace. And then poor Wanda, who hadn't been married or been with anybody for like 30 years. I was like,
And was just ecstatic.
she was so excited. So anyways, guys, It is what it is.
Rest in
I
peace,
just didn't
Wanda.
rest in peace, Wanda. And you were a great mother. Your kids adored you. Your mother adored you. And
She was just a cool girl, and maybe something will come out someday that, boom, we find out who really did it or confirm that he did it.
I just wanted more evidence. Anyway, I just didn't like the evidence. So,
Not my fave in the evidence category.
Thank you.
Means. Thank you guys for listening. We got a new TikTok out.
check it.
Check yourself. Don't wreck yourself. We love having fun. Follow us on TikTok. You guys have the funniest comments. Keep them coming. Email us, thelethalibrary@gmail.com.
If any comments, concerns, kudos.
Questions, random thoughts. I mean, I don't know what I'll do with your random thoughts, but we
Shoot them. Let's go.
we love a little giggle.
Let's go.
What are y'all thinking about today? Anyway, we just appreciate you guys. And that's all I got. 10-4 rubber ducky.
Fuck yeah.